That's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable.
What was your favorite time with great grandma?
In the play with great grandma. She made our sweaters.
My favorite memory was when she would tell the story about waiting in a bread line when she was a younger lady, and she couldn't even see the table at the end of the line. And she said that she waited in the line for hours. When she finally got up to the table to get her bread, there was no bread there. It was just cigarettes. She was in the wrong line. She said, well, I'm not standing all day here for nothing. Give me my cigarettes. And that's how she started smoking.
So, I'm going to have to say my favorite nanny story, granted there's a lot of them, is in 2nd grade, our class was going to the Core Temple Shrine Circus. And we missed the bus to go to the circus. So Nanny drove us all the way to Augusta to the Civic Center where they were having the circus. She brought me up to the line. She didn't have a ticket. And so the Shriner at the door taking tickets looked at her, said, "What, you don't have a ticket?" And she said, "No, I don't have a ticket," and gave him the whole story of how we missed the bus and how she brought me all the way down to see the circus. And he leaned into her, turned his head, and goes, "Just give me one right here, and that's all you need." So in order to get into the circus, she kissed a Shriner.
Oh, I remember that. Favorite is no matter how old I got, and I got pretty old, that Nanny never hesitated to tell me, "You're doing it wrong." It didn't matter what it was. "Ron, do it this way because that's my way and that's the right way. But if you're doing it your way, it's wrong."
And did it my
It was a wonderful lady. I know her for quite a few years. And she was always, I always gave her books to her, and she loved to read books. And I've always gave her books when she came down. She's a wonderful lady.
Nanny was the best lady. Very nice.
Nanny let drive all the way to me and he was only 16 years old. He thought it was
Never met Kathy's father. I was going over there one day to meet him. I got dropped off on High Street and had to cross the field. And across the stream to get me. So I crossed the field. It must have rained for about a week before that. Usually the stream's about that high. Walking across, I trip. I fall in. I'm all wet and then come out with his father. Hey, I'm Mike. It was so good.
It's little Mikey. I'm not so little anymore. I'm here with my parents. My best memory of Nanny would be this photo here of her at the studio in the booth. I always joke around and say she taught me everything I know about recording music. And sweaters and dolls as well.
When I was a kid, my brother, my sister, and myself, we were playing cowboys and Indians. We were just little kids then. My brother and I tied up my sister. And my mom came up the stairs. She saw my sister tied up. She says, "I'm gonna kill you kids yet." And she ran downstairs. Well, she came back up. A couple minutes later, she had a butcher knife in her hand. Well, this kid said, "No, Mom, no." She says, "You damn fool. This is to cut the rope."
Okay. They brought her home from the hospital. She had a bedpan that she said was way too little. And I said, "It's not little, you only have a little butt." And she said, "Don't be a wise then." And I went and bought her a new one and a big one.
Okay, one of my favorite memories of Nan is when she taught me how to knit and crochet, because it's something I can make for everybody and can kind of share along with everyone.
I think she's confused. Hi, Maddie.
I remember she yelled at me when I yelled at her.
She's like, here you go, you can have it.
Hi, Riley.
Riley, say hi. Well, I do remember Nan yelling at me really bad one time, but there were a lot of good fun times too. We used to just sit and watch TV, like Murder, She Wrote, and just hang out and have fun.
Favorite memory of Nanny would be every time she came up, making her nice tea. She always had her tea and her honey on the couch. No matter what time of day it was, if she was sleeping, she heard us walk in. As soon as you walk in, she'd ask you, "How you doing? How was your day? What'd you do?" She's one of the nicest ladies I've ever met. Her memory will definitely never be forgotten.
Your grandmother, your great-grandmother, would make us, for our children, these beautiful crochet dresses. They were beautiful. She always had, she was a special, very special lady. Great memories with her. And great conversation, too.
Okay. One of my favorite memories of Nanny is she used to make these beautiful dolls and these beautiful dresses, and they were just amazing. And I actually still have them to this day, and I will always cherish them.
All right, Nanny and I used to go back and forth with, how could I say it properly? She would bust my chops, but first I would bust hers. And she'd come back with a pretty good follow. I can't really remember any specific time that there was a he said, she said, what? More often than not, I lost the battle. So I had to walk away with my head down and wait till next time. Hope for better. That's it.
Favorite memory of Nanny? Being the first one to test out her coleslaw. Always a pleasure.
Good.
Ready? I think my favorite memory of Nan, I have so many. I just remember laying with her at night on the couch watching all kinds of TV shows like Murder, She Wrote, Heart to Heart, and Kojak.
I think mine would be when we were coming home from Maine, and I made us all listen to the same song over and over, and Nanny wanted to kill me. It was the same, If You're Going Through Hell, Keep Going by Rodney Atkins. Yep, I was like 5.
If you're going through hell, keep on going.
So some of my favorite memories are from my early childhood, swimming in the pool in East Haven and watching the horses. After that, having Nanny see our children and the glow in her spirit was one of my fondest memories.
It was just so great having her nearby when we were little. When I permed Nanny's hair, we had a ball. We would laugh and cry and joke around. It was great. We miss you, Mom. Love you.
unforgettable in every way, and forevermore, that's how you'll stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
So, my favorite memory of Nanny, it's hard to pinpoint one because I grew up with her in the same house, so there's a lot of great memories of Nanny. But one that happened frequently, so I guess that's kind of why it's my favorite, is that I always got to sleep with Nanny. So, well, most kids go to their mommies and daddies when they're scared from a bad dream or whatever. And they would sneak in mommy and daddy's bed. I would sneak into Nanny's bed. Of course, I always had to ask permission, but Nanny never said no. So that's my favorite memory, is that I got to sleep in her bed all the time because Nanny never shuts the light off. Never, never, never. So I always get to sleep in Nanny's room all the time. So it's my favorite memory. Thanks.
So, a memory I remember about Nan. Well, I remember once when I was probably about 8 or 9, she took us to the store, Martin's. And while we were there, we were just shopping around, and I spotted what was called an Sonic Donkey Kong watch up on the wall. So I pleaded with her to get it because, well, I like video games, and having a game on my wrist, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So, she said no. So that was at first kind of disappointing. And we went around, finished shopping, looking at everything. But before we left, she made sure she got it for me. So I remember being like the happiest kid ever because I got this Donkey Kong wristwatch, and I thought that was extremely cool. Showed it all my friends and everything like that. Played it in school quite a bit. So that was actually one of the happiest memories because it was basically beginning of summer, and I wore that wristwatch for many, many years actually. So every time I wore it, I kind of got reminded of her. Yeah, so that was one of the best memories I have, that she kind of surprised me by at first saying no, I couldn't have it, but making sure that she did get it for me before we actually left.
Alrighty, my story is a Thanksgiving story. In our house, all the kids bedrooms were downstairs, but they built a second floor on the home, so we all moved upstairs, and my mother had an extra room downstairs, and she always wanted a dining room. So she got a dining room table and got that room all set up, and her first Thanksgiving was going to be very special. But she didn't tell us how special it was going to be. So we all got in there to have our Thanksgiving dinner. She brought in this nice turkey she'd been cooking all day, and we've been smelling. She put it on the table. Then she went out of the room for a minute and came back with a ladle. We didn't know what was in the ladle or what was about to happen, but she lit the ladle up, and she poured it over the turkey, and flames spread all over the turkey and down onto the platter. and all 5 of us kids ran out of the room. And she had to call us back because we thought we didn't know what was going on. We had a turkey that was on fire. But that's what they did back then. It was fancy stuff, and that's how she wanted her first Thanksgiving in her new dining room. And that's my story about my mom. It was very funny.
My funniest moment with Grammy, which would be your Grammy, not mine, would be when we were all at the ice cream store, and we were all going in to get ice cream together, and she decided she wanted a hot fudge sundae. You make your own. So she took her dish, and they had the white ice cream in it, and she went to hit the pump for the chocolate, and she slammed that thing down and went, and good thing she had her legs open because it squirted right between her legs, landed right on the floor between her legs. That was so funny, and that is my funniest moment with her.
It's hard to pick just one memory that's my favorite of Grammy because we spent so much time with her when we were growing up. But probably my favorite memory would have to be when she had come to Maine to visit, and Cindy and I were young, and she was asleep on the couch in the living room, and she was snoring. So Cindy and I recorded her snoring, and the sound went something like this. And I'm pretty sure that we still have that recording somewhere, and we'll probably get just as big of a laugh out of it today as we did then. And that is my favorite funny memory of Grammy.
My favorite memory of Great Grandma was the day when we were at Santa's Village, and we were using Snapchat while waiting for our pizza, and me and her were laughing just so hard because the pictures were so funny. It was just, I don't even know if she could laugh that hard. It was just so funny.
Okay, so like everybody else, I have had a very hard time trying to come up with just one memory, a favorite memory of Grammy, because I have so very many memories. And I'm thankful for each and every memory that I have. And the important thing is that I do have all those memories because she was always there. I loved sitting back and just looking at her smile as she watched whatever was going on around her. She would just be full of joy, pure joy, as she watched whatever she was doing, whatever she was there for, whether it was a family event, and she was just looking at all of her family around her, whether it was a school concert or a dance recital, because she came to all of them. Even when she lived in Connecticut, she traveled here, and she was there for them, and she then, when I had children, she was right there for their events, everything from the time they were babies, right up till this past Christmas for Owen's guitar concert, and she just had a glowing smile. The other thing that was a memory of hers that I don't necessarily specifically remember myself, but that she told me about at least a couple times a year, was when I was a little girl and she came up to visit from Connecticut. I wanted to show her something in my bedroom, and my bedroom was a mess. My bedroom was always a mess. And I took her hand before I got to the door because I told her that she was getting old and I didn't want her to get hurt because my room was messy. And so that always made her laugh, and I just loved seeing her laugh whenever she told me about it, or maybe it was just that she didn't want to let me live that moment down. So as you can see behind me, Miss Emma is joining in on my memory as well.
So my favorite memory of Great Grandma is probably the Great Grandma sweaters. And one time when my little sister Emma was a baby, we took a picture with Great Grandma and her. And Emma was crying, and Great Grandma's face was so funny in the picture. So that's probably one of my favorite memories of Great Grandma. Oh, and something else is that every time we used to see her, even when she traveled, she would always just have lollipops for us. So every time I see a lollipop or have a lollipop, I remember her by that.
So my favorite memory of great grandma is probably like all the times that she would make the like sweaters and all the homemade things that she used to make, all the blankets and everything, like she knit and stuff like that. And like I think a lot of us have things from her that will keep special forever.
Unforgettable in every way, and forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.